What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to do some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow based off the charts are showing and based off what the data is suggesting. I'm also going to break down what's going on in the overall market and how this may affect Tesla with CPI coming out very soon, and also some big updates from China, and also some other big pieces of news that are very good for Tesla when it comes to deliveries, production in China, and also the popularity that's increasing all over Europe. Now, before I break anything down about Tesla and what they put on their Twitter page, which is very good news, I got to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share, a free NEO share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer that ends in just 4 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So we had an absolutely insane day in the markets today. If you looked at Tesla, we came down pretty hard. Like right here to this zone yesterday. And once we entered this very critical zone between that 216 and 220, we got a big bounce. Tesla was holding up for a lot of time. Now, I predicted that we would see a repeat of that. We did come down. We started testing this zone. We held up pretty well for the majority of the day. We were showing some strength. And what else is very interesting is the SPY, the NASDAQ, they were following this to a T. You can see the SPY came down to this critical zone, got a nice bounce off that. We started to rally as the day went on. However, this was a major trap that was set by the market makers. They were manipulating the market like crazy. They wanted everyone to get excited. They wanted everyone to start celebrating, load up on calls. They started to bring this down slowly. And then all of a sudden, within like 30 minutes, the SPY dropped like 2%. It was crazy. Pretty insane to see a crazy sell off like that with this crazy volume. You could see we went from about like very close to 362 all the way down to 355. Once again, within 30 minutes. That is insane, and that did cause Tesla to also drag down very, very hard as the whole market kind of like crashed near the end of the day. And Tesla came below this critical zone. So, once again, not looking the best. And we ended up getting a bounce off 215, which is one of the zones I mentioned too. So now Tesla's in a position where, okay, we broke below 216. That's not holding us up. We're barely holding 215. It's not looking the best, in my honest opinion. And once you see what Wall Street is doing, it's going to make a lot of sense. So, looking at the data right now, the market is very fearful. People are panicking. The fear and greed index is extremely fearful. People don't know what's going down. And people believe that the crash is coming, right? Retail is now kind of like starting to capitulate. We're starting to see a lot of investors panicking, and we're seeing big analysts out there saying a big crash is coming. When it comes to Tesla, looking at the data right now, you will see the fact that Tesla has a tendency of following the overall market. It is actually trending down with it. However, Tesla is showing a lot of weakness as the price pairs ratio is still trending to the downside and once again lacking the relative strength. Going down right here, Morgan Stanley is actually still giving Tesla a good rating still. We're still seeing lots of buy ratings as well coming out from big banks and big analysts. So Tesla is still very strong fundamentally, and that really hasn't changed, at least for the time being. We could be entering an earnings recession very soon, and that's what is causing a lot of panic in the markets, as we may see earnings start to show some signs of weakness. Now, going down to the data, you will see something crazy. Look at these rectangles right here. Each of these represents the short interest of Tesla, and Wall Street is piling into short Tesla like crazy. We're seeing big investors, big analysts just shorting and shorting and shorting, and they're dragging the share price down as I speak. Now, looking at the overall volume, one thing that's not good is we saw a lot of selling volume that was very high. The overall volume is higher than the average volume we saw over the last like week or so, but what's crazy is we came down pretty hard on that volume. Dropping on high volume is not a good sign, and that is often an indication of more potential downside. Now, looking down at the data here, you will notice that we did see a slight drop in the short volume percentage, at least just like for yesterday, but I am anticipating a big increase as lots of sellers came in. We are seeing more and more shorting, like at a crazy, crazy level that just keeps on continuing. Looking at the S&P 500, we are seeing a very low number once again. We saw it actually hit a new low for the year as we're continuing to see more and more and more fear take over. Looking at something else that's important though is you have to remember CPI is coming out on October 13th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This means tomorrow is going to be the last full day of the markets before CPI comes out. Because remember, on Thursday when it comes out, it's going to be right before the market opens. So Wednesday is the last full day, and this is when we're going to see a lot of these analysts, a lot of investors getting ready for the big day. Now, what tends to happen is there's lots of uncertainty in the markets. We don't know how CPI is going to come out, and energy makes up a big part of CPI data. Now, this is often an indication of how it could end up playing out. But remember what happened last time. Back in August, energy was coming down, gas prices were dropping, and what ended up happening is we still saw the market crash after CPI came out because core CPI was high. So that's something we really have to pay attention to when it actually comes out. And I'm going to give you guys a big preview tomorrow about this because it's going to be very big for the markets. The markets are kind of they're on thin ice right now, right? We're very concerned about this, and we have to see how it really goes. So for SPY, what I'm noticing is we showed not the best of signs. We broke below that 356 support zone. We ended up touching 355. You could argue we have like a double bottom like formation. We could push up a bit. And I do think we're going to enter this chop zone right here between like 358 to 360. But we're continuing. If you zoom out, continuing to downtrend over and over again. And overall, it is still looking pretty bearish. So I anticipate a lot of chop tomorrow, lots of sideways action, but we could get a sell off at the end of the day in anticipation of CPI because there's lots of uncertainty and a lot of the market makers and investors do not like uncertainty. For Tesla, what are we seeing for Tesla? Well, the same thing is basically happening to Tesla. I mentioned previously, all right, I did want to see Tesla hold up pretty well. We were holding this zone for almost the entire day. We were above 220 for almost most of the hours during the trading day, but we didn't see a lot of volume really push this thing up like I really wanted to see. I thought it was possible for us to get a break above 226. We didn't actually get that. Instead, we ended up coming in the opposite direction. Now, what I mentioned to everyone is if we do end up breaking below this zone, this is a very critical level. We broke below that, so 215 ended up holding us up, and it does not look like that's a super strong support zone. So what I'm seeing is this thing has the potential to come all the way down to the 210s, considering the fact that Wall Street is just hammering in with their short positions. They're just, they're very relentless sometimes. I really see Tesla coming down to this 210 to 215 level. And if we come below 210, we have the potential to retest that 206 drop. So what's important about 206 is the fact that if we zoom out of the chart, you will see that back in May, when the market was crashing back around May, around like May to June, during this time frame, Tesla's low was 206 if you adjust for the split. This means that this is where Tesla got a big bounce. This is going to be a very important zone. We're hoping Tesla actually gets a bounce there. Now, considering that we're coming very close to that zone again. It looks like we are now showing signs and lots of confirmation of a potential double bottom to form. So it seems a little bit more likely for Tesla to actually come down and retest 206 before getting a bounce, in my opinion. But in order for us to confirm this with a more credible like evidence, with a more stronger thesis, we need to see this thing break below 210 first. So that's a very key zone too. So for support and resistance levels, watch this very carefully. If we push up, all right, there's a little bit of resistance at 216. It's actually not that bad, but we have stronger resistance around that 218 to 220 range. Get a break above that, then we can actually re-enter this 220 to 226 zone, which is where Tesla had a lot of chomp over the last couple of days. But if this thing doesn't actually get a nice push up there and we start coming down, we're currently trying to hold 215. And if we don't hold 215, we have to try to hold 210. And if we do end up coming below that and we start like retesting 210, then what's going to happen is we're going to come down to this next critical zone between 210 and 206. Right where I highlighted this a couple of days ago as a possibility as to where we could end up dropping to. This zone right here is very critical for Tesla. We could get a bounce around here or at least try to hold this level temporarily. Now, for tomorrow, it is very possible for Tesla to retest this as lots of fear is starting to set in. But where we go after that depends on CPI, in my honest opinion. The market could still get a big reversal if CPI is pretty strong. We like the numbers that come out, but if it's very bad, if the numbers are still very hot, if inflation is still looked at as something that's still going up and the Fed has to be even more hawkish, as a result, the market could crash as well. So that's why Thursday is going to be an absolutely massive day too. Until we get there, the price action is still kind of like capricious for Friday and other days like that. For tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla enters this chop zone just like this. But because the market is kind of fearful, because SPY has a tendency of dropping in the beginning, Tesla could come below 215. Unfortunately, we're going to try to fight for it, but I'm very apprehensive here. I'm very nervous about how this could really play out. Tesla could come down to 210. I'm hoping we hold 210. If we don't hold 210, this thing could go to 206, which is where we bounced the last time we came to that zone. So, but as of right now, I'm hoping we hold 210. We could even come to like that 208 to like 206 or somewhere around there. I would say between 206 and 210 is a very critical level, and we tend to bounce somewhere between that zone, in my honest opinion. So we could actually retest that, hoping for a nice bounce into like the middle of the day. If we do get a push up, we could come back to about 215, and that's where we have strong resistance. If we break below that, what could happen is we get another major sell off at the end of the day, and this could actually drag Tesla all the way down to 210, maybe as low as 208, and get a very kind of like close to about 210, maybe a little lower. So somewhere around there. I'm still very cautious when it comes to the way this thing is moving. The markets are just absolutely crazy right now. We actually saw real life manipulation right before our very eyes. Once again, if you look at SPY, you will see. I mean, they let this thing push up very hard. They got investors very excited. This was a big trap. It slowly came down, and then this big crash happened within 30 minutes. Once again, a 2% drop on SPY. Absolutely insane. So watch your indicators very carefully. Be very careful, guys. These market makers are just relentless. They really like to play with retail, to toy with them and make money off of them. So be very careful. And as for Tesla, right now it looks a little bit more bearish than bullish for the short term. But where we go on Thursday and Friday also depends on CPI. So watch that very carefully as well. Now, when it comes to the data and what's going on in China, there is something else I wanted to talk about. That's the fact that we are still seeing more and more of these lockdowns continuing. This is because of the fact that we're seeing more cases continuing to go up as temperatures are cooling down, and we are seeing the virus spreading. And this, in turn, as of right now, has not been affecting the Tesla Gigafactory in China and Shanghai as of right now. But what does concern investors is the demand side. How is this going to affect demand in China? We are starting to see demand come down. This will have a negative effect on the world economy, but there is something good, and that's the fact that demand in the USA hasn't changed as much as some people would have anticipated. We are still seeing a lot of buyers in Europe, all over the USA as well. So hopefully that actually holds up pretty well, because Tesla's demand is very different from the demand we see for conventional cars, especially used cars, as Kathy would mention. And what else is very interesting is we had a very important auto correspondent. He basically stated the fact that Tesla is doing very well right here. We have some massive numbers that just came out of China, and they're breaking records left and right. We can see right here we have 83,000 vehicles delivered by Tesla in China, their biggest month ever. This is just incredible after the big upgrades they made to the Shanghai facility over the summer. They did shut down for some time, but they're really pumping out the cars, and that's what he stated. And also, it was noted that they could produce over 750,000 vehicles per year now. That's just a monster of a factory. They're doing very well, and I hope they continue to really spur up those deliveries, because this is going to be very good for the reports. And there is a good chance that Tesla could actually meet the expectations, believe it or not, because I'm not going to count them out, and that's something very important. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on this Twitter page right here is the fact that Tesla retweeted this. They mentioned the fact that the Tesla Model Y is officially the best selling vehicle in Germany, accounting for just over 4.5% of the car market. Once again, brilliant news in my opinion. Tesla is doing very well. I'm still very bullish long term, but for the short term, I'm still very cautious because we are entering potential earnings recession. We may see lots of earnings for different companies slow down as demand is slowing down. And also for Tesla, I am going to be very cautious when it comes to what's going on in China, because we are seeing more of these lockdowns. Winter is getting very close, and I want the best for everyone in Tesla and also the company in China. I really hope this does not cause more shutdowns for the gigafactories. So with that said, guys, CPI is coming out in just 2 days. Please remain calm, cool, and collected. Watch your technical indicators very carefully when it comes to like trading Tesla or other stocks out there, and do what you have to do. There are going to be lots of fake outs, lots of manipulation is continuing. The shorts are piling in, so be very cautious and do what's best for your own circumstances and your families. Thank you all for listening. Have a great rest of the day. Get ready for tomorrow, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still very bright despite everything going on. And peace out.